Still managing your leads manually in ClickUp? That ends today. I'll walk you through how to set up an automated sales pipeline that creates subtasks, updates stages, and even advances your leads, all on autopilot. If you're ready to make ClickUp work smarter for you and not the other way around, keep watching.
And then what I want to do is whenever this lead goes from one stage to another, I want to add a subtask. The subtask would be the different steps that you need to execute for each stage of the process. So how do you do that? All right. So this is where you're going to make use of conditional automation. Unfortunately, this is only available in the business plan. So that's why I always recommend to a client that they use the business plan. The business plan should be enough. All right. So if a client is asking you what subscription they should subscribe to, then the business plan is the way to go. So the business plan allows you to make use of conditional automations like this, and also the custom dashboards that I showed you yesterday. All right, so the automations that we're going to use is that whenever the custom field, so my shorthand or my shortcut would be the letter F, and then it will show me custom fields in here. And then stage, which is the stage that we created. And then let's choose the first stage. All right, so that's the trigger that we use. And then this is important. Make sure that this only applies to the task level, the parent task, not the subtask. All right, so again, the trigger would be when the lead stage is changed to prospect. And then the action that we need to choose is subtask. So I will put UV there as my shortcut. All right, and then here, the parent task is empty. Leave that empty. That's going to be empty. Okay, and then the subtask would be, what are the steps that you need to do whenever a new lead comes in? One thing that you need to do, you can ask ChatGPT for the different steps if you want to, if you don't have any idea. But one thing would be to research about the company. All right, and my best practice is I always include the task name, which is the lead's name. All right, so that's the best practice. And then if you want to add a template, you have to create the template first before you can select it here. So we don't need a template here, so that's okay. And then the status, leave it blank. Description, you can maybe add instructions in here. So maybe go to their website, check social media accounts, capture relevant information, and create a summary. So this could also be a checklist, but for now, I'm just going to put that there. All right, and then for the due date, I usually put that as on trigger date. And then you can also select the assignee here. So let me just choose Earl, for example. Another thing, you can add up to 6 subtasks in one automation, but in any case that you need to add more, just duplicate the same automation and add the rest of the steps. So let me add another subtask, which is to connect with them. And then again, I'll add the task name. I'll put the due date as on trigger date, and then I would select the assignee. So this only works if you already have a standard. So make sure that you define your process first before you even automate anything. All right, or else it's going to cause confusion. So as you can see, when I created that subtask automation, it has an automatic numbering system in here, and then I can customize it. So what I do is add more context. Stage is prospect, research, and add on LinkedIn. So you have to shorten it a bit because I think there's only a few characters in here. All right. And then we have to do that for each and every stage. Okay, I can duplicate this. Just click the plus sign there to duplicate the automation. Duplicate in current location. This time we're gonna do it for discovery. Okay, and then for discovery, send Calendly link. You can even add the link of the Calendly link in here if you want to. And then, so same thing, it's going to be assigned to Earl. It's going to be assigned to, or same due date. And then send pitch deck. And you can add more, okay? I'm just going to add two as an example. And then let's duplicate that for the other stages. So let's say proposal would be to draft proposal. It's going to be assigned to Earl. And then I'm going to add another one, which is review proposal, which is going to be assigned to me, for example. And then make sure again to rename the automation so that you don't get confused what that is for. So I'm just going to make it fast because we don't have the luxury of time. So stage is proposal, send proposal. All right, and then last one would be cold, maybe. Let's add cold. All right, one first. Onboard new client. And assign account manager. All right, duplicate. And then last one would be so you see how fast I'm doing this because I'm already very experienced and I know where to click. But as you go through this, it might be a bit slow, but again, practice makes perfect. All right, and then last one, I'm going to duplicate that again. This time it's going to be cold. And then send nurture or add to nurture email sequence. Then I'm going to remove that because maybe there's just one, right? And then for loss, it could be the same thing. All right, you can think of what you want to do with the lost. All right, that should be enough. All right, you get the idea, right? Stage is cold. Add to email sequence. Okay. This one is lost. All right, so are we done? No, we're not yet, but at least we have created all the steps. And again, think about all the steps for each stage. Then what we need to add would be an automation that only applied to task, of course. And that would be when all immediate subtasks are resolved, and then we need to add a condition. And the stage is prospect. All right, so what did we do? Once you mark the subtask in the first stage, so the first stage is prospect, this is going to get triggered. And what it will do is that it will move the client or the lead to the next stage, which is discovery. And then we have to iterate that so that it moves through the pipeline automatically. And that's how you create an automatic pipeline. You don't even have to move it across the board. It will move on its own, and it also makes sure that the team are doing their task, because if they miss doing the task assigned to them for that stage, the lead will get stuck. It will not move through the process. And you would see why. So let's just say that what happened to this client, why is Tony Robbins still in the prospect stage? You would see that, okay, Earl did not do this. That's the reason. So this is one of the mechanism to make sure that the process flows and the people stick to the process. All right. That's my trade secret. So I've just shared that with you. Okay, and then we need to replicate that for the other stages. Let me just change now to discovery, to proposal, and then do that for proposal. Okay, for proposal, it's going to end there actually, sorry. It's going to end there because then you just have to mark it as won or lost. All right, that's going to be manual. That's something that I cannot automate. It will depend on whether the client said yes or no. All right, so let's try it. Let me just delete this first. All right, so to see if it works. Sorry, one thing that I would do as well is that once let me just duplicate this here. When all the subtasks are resolved in cold, and you've done everything in one first, you can mark the status as complete because that's the end of the process, right? And then you can also do that for cold and lost. All right, so let's test this. Let's just say that Tony Robbins came in as a prospect. Sometimes it takes a while for the automation to kick in. You might need to refresh, but if you're lucky, it's going to show up there. So you see there are 2 subtasks that got added, and it will also show here, ClickBot added automation. So now you don't even have to notify your team members that you have a new client because they will get that reminder. They will get an email that a task was assigned to them. I'm not sure why it's showing yesterday. It should be today because it was triggered today. Unless our time zone is different for this account. Okay, we'll see. But this should be today, all right? So just disregard for now. But once, let's say Earl has done the research and he's added all the information in here. So we don't have custom fields in here, but he can then add all the custom fields, right? And then once he's done with the connection with LinkedIn, then he can mark that as complete. What should happen is that the lead should move from prospect to discovery. Right, so let's wait for that to move. So there, it moved from prospect to discovery. And again, once you mark the custom fields as complete, send the calendar link, that's done. And then send pitch deck, that's done. And then it should move to proposal. I'm opening and closing just to make sure that it triggers, so I don't have to refresh. And then when it goes to proposal, let's just say that we have drafted the proposal and we have sent the proposal. And now we're waiting for the answer from the client, right? So once you hear back from the client, then either they say yes, you put that to won, or if they said no, put that to lost. If they say not now or you followed up multiple times, our rule of thumb is we only follow up 2 times. We don't want to show like we're so desperate for any project, so we only follow up twice, and we don't want to expend so much time and resources following up for something that might not even lead to anything. So once we were done with the second follow up, then we just move it to cold. If they just ghosted you and they didn't say anything, they're too shy to reject you, so you just put that to cold and let your email sequence do the nurturing or the follow up as well. All right, and that's how you create an automatic pipeline. All right, another thing that I wanted to show you, and this could have different routes, like we've created more complex ones. This is like the baseline. I just want you to understand the baseline first. But it can actually like branch out to different conditions. So for example, if they selected a certain service, a certain set of subtasks also gets added. For example, if they chose a web design or a website migration, we would do an audit first. So something like that. You can actually play around with this kind of workflow design. It's very flexible. You can choose different triggers as well. We've done automations like this with like 100 automations. So imagine how complex the different routes are. But yeah, that's what the client wanted. But definitely keep it simple as much as possible.
Thank you so much for watching our video. We hope you found the content helpful and insightful. If you're ready to dive deeper and get a more comprehensive step-by-step guide on using ClickUp, we invite you to join our full course. Our course is packed with detailed lessons, practical tips, and hands-on training designed to help business owners optimize their processes or to empower virtual assistants to take their skills to the next level. Whether you want to streamline your business operations or become a ClickUp expert, we've got something for you. Enroll now and get lifetime access to exclusive content, expert guidance, and all the tools you need to succeed. Click the link in the captions to start your journey with us today. Once again, thank you for watching, and we can't wait to see you in our course. Let's take the next step together and make your goals a reality.